We're just halfcasts talking about your favorite movies on your new favorite podcast. And we're talking about the movie cast. We have fun and we love our friends. Starting in 3, 2, and 1. Hello and welcome back to the Halfcast Moviecast podcast. Yeah, my name's Benny and I'm I call myself somewhat of a film connoisseur.
Hi, I'm Julius. I'm a fizzy drink connoisseur.
Hi, my name is Ravi, and I am a connoisseur of movies and TV shows, the superhero kind.
And I'm Tom, and I'm a fried chicken connoisseur.
Wow, we all connoisseuring something.
Yeah, I mean, yours is the most related to the podcast, so that's good. It's good to be back.
It's good to be back. We might be a little rusty. It's been a while.
Yep.
We've been had a little bit of scheduling issues, a little bit of me being a bad editor and not turning out things on time. So that's why there's been a little bit of a break.
Oh, and the global pandemic.
There's been a pandemic?
Talking about what? I'm going to start with news actually, just to get us warmed up. We had a Dune official trailer drop in last month. Yes, that's how long it's been. So, did you guys watch it? The trailer for Dune?
I did. The question is, Benny, did you watch the trailer?
I watched the trailer.
What?
Wow, you bad boy, Benny. Bad boy, watching these trailers.
Has anyone read the books?
No, I haven't read the books.
I can't read.
Oh, sorry. Has anyone seen the David Lynch adaptation?
No. I want to,
What are your thoughts on the trailer?
If only you had friends who knew movies.
Have you read the book or watched the Lynch movie?
I'm going to watch the Lynch one, but I've seen some episodes where I'm like, nah, I don't want to watch the Lynch one. But because I've read the first book, I haven't read all of them, but I read the first book. When I was watching that trailer, legit, man, I was like, oh, yeah, I know who that is. That's the perfect actor for that character. I was like, yo, Jason Momoa's in it, my cousin from Hawaii.
I'll watch it.
Yeah, well, anything he's in, you gotta watch. He's playing this character called Duncan, Idaho. It's funny. Let me describe what his character's like and what he goes through the book. You guys want me to know?
Yeah,
just want to wait for the movie.
Yeah.
We've got time.
You guys have time for me to discuss all the ins and outs, all the major plot points?
Yep.
You can do that, yeah.
Maybe the casting process as well for the movie.
Oh, sure. So what they did was they were looking in Hawaii for some of the greatest actors in the world, and they only found one.
Who'd they find?
Zendaya.
Auliti Carvalho.
Hey. Oh, apparently I'm related to her.
Are you? Oh, wow.
I believe that.
No, I just made that up. I'm sorry. Sorry,
well,
guys.
you've read the Dune novel. Apparently, it's extremely long, winding novel with plenty of different plot points. At certain points in time, people have tried to make this film. Some have failed to complete it, including Yarovesky, a well-known director, and Lynch completed it but was unhappy with the results, saying he didn't have creative control, and it's not really regarded as in a good way. And finally, now we get what's his name?
What looks like a great adaptation.
Yeah, Denis Villeneuve, the director of Prisoners, Arrival, and Blade Runner 2049, to film what was long considered the unfilmable movie. The only book that I can think of that's similar, well, apart from Infinite Jest, is the book The Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, if you read the Silmarillion, then this book is nothing, because even the Silmarillion is so deep. There's so many things going on. Like, this book has nothing on Silmarillion, but it's still a fantastic book. It has the potential to have a sort of similar universe that Lord of the Rings has. You know, not on movies, not like the MCU, but sort of that whole Star Wars universe where like every stick has a name and a meaning and a background.
Wow.
Every single stick.
Every stick. Yep.
That one's named Bob. That one's named Larry.
Nerd, they'll know like every name of like at that cantina scene, all those aliens playing instruments. They'll be like, oh, that guy's name is this and that guy's name is this, and that's how huge that fandom is, man.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I don't know nothing about it. I haven't seen any Star Wars.
Yeah,
I don't even watch movies.
Interesting. It's interesting how people how fandoms are created. Star Wars was not only a great adaptation, but it was like a cultural revolution. So having Dune I don't know if we are placed in the position to create a new cultural revolution.
We're not ready
because of the climate, and everything that's happening.
I heard not even James Cameron could make this movie.
Wow, I didn't.
He didn't have enough
Well, at
money.
least he's making. True.
Let's go on to our next article.
Killed it.
Which is I was gonna transition to Avatar.
Transition.
Avatar, the sequel. James Cameron reveals filming is 100% complete.
Great segue.
Me and you think like Beanie.
Yeah, number 2.
Yes.
Yep,
Avatar 2.
Wow.
Laying the bombs.
Well, that means there's still 8 more left.
Yeah.
Were they filming some of 3 at the same time?
He's filming them all back to back, like Peter Jackson did.
Plan, wasn't it?
The thing about filming back to back is you get to release them back to back, as opposed to filming one, releasing one, then filming another, then releasing it with years gone by.
Yeah.
Filming it back to back gives him the ability to film as much as he can and then release them when they're like ready. When he says they'll release them, which was like 3 years ago.
Yeah.
It's thinking about also like consistency as well. I wonder if they're filmed at the same time. I can't remember if Lord of the Rings was filmed concurrently or if there was something. Were they all filmed at the same time, similar time?
Yeah,
Lord of the
they were
Rings?
all filmed. It took 3 years to film all 3 with focuses on the ones coming up. So it wasn't like they filmed Fellowship of the Ring and then left one scene in 2003 to film after it was released. They made sure all of it was shot and then filmed Two Towers and then filmed Return of the King. So it was like filmed it, post-production while filming the other one, release, back to filming.
Right.
So it's
So
crazy.
they're all in order.
Nice. For a second, it sounded like you forgot the name of the movies, and I was gonna beat you up.
Oh wow! I don't watch those films. I don't even read the books.
Two Towers, and then the other one after Return of the Jedi.
The next article, Disney admits Mulan controversy pileup has created, quote, a lot of issues for us.
What's this? What's going on?
Mulan. It was just a lot of different controversies surrounding Mulan. Has anyone seen that film?
Yep.
Nope.
Yeah, I saw it. But I was like, did they just realize that now?
No, they didn't I reckon they just didn't realize. Well, this is 29 days ago, but they didn't realize it now, but that maybe they were just late to admit it.
Right.
They're not
wow.
It's Disney the Giant,
Yeah,
Right.
true.
What do you guys think of that film, Mulan? Yeah.
I personally haven't seen it, but I think it was. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they made enough revenue or enough money based off their film because it went straight to Disney Plus Premier Access, I think it's called. But I don't know if they made enough money, which is why they're pushing Black Widow to kind of be released in the cinemas, which makes sense because these movies cost like hundreds of millions of dollars to make. I did hear snippets about the controversies, and I think that's just a bit dumb from Disney, especially if they're trying to be real true. I think this film was supposed to be a bit more truer to the story of Mulan. As far I haven't seen it, so I can't really comment on that. But I don't know. Do you guys think that's kind of contradictory in a sense?
Yeah, that's true. I don't even know the real story of Mulan, so going into watching the film, I was like, okay, whatever's happening, this must be what the real Mulan came up with. And then when they started doing all those like supernatural stuff, I was like, okay. I don't want to spoil anything, but I was just like, okay.
Yeah, it's a superhero movie, Ravi. You should
I don't really mind being spoiled for Mulan.
I just got to give a shout out. The director of this movie is a Kiwi director, and she directed Whale Rider.
Yeah, pulled a bunch of Kiwi actors in too, eh?
She was great. She fought for it to be filmed here in New Zealand. Nikki Caro, director of Whale Rider, and also director of Whale Rider sequel.
I keep mixing her up with Susie Kato for some reason. I don't know why. It must be the name.
Oh, because Susie Kato directed Dolphin Rider.
Yeah.
No,
Dolphin Whisperer.
Man, that was the driest joke I came up with. Can we cut that, G? Like, that was the first thing that came to my mind, and I was like, don't say it.
I'm not sure.
The people need to see that sometimes you're not funny.
Not sure if I will. Next article. The Batman resumes production after shutdown over positive COVID-19 test.
Well, that's positive.
Yeah. You know who else was Robert?
Wow. Wow.
No, who else was Robert?
Do you know who else was positive?
Sorry.
Robert Pattinson. For
He
COVID-19.
It was the Batman himself, Bruce
All he
Wayne.
needs to do is go in the sun.
Oh,
And it will sparkle off him. I'm not cutting any Julius jokes from this.
I'm excited for that to start production again. I think it's already back in production at this stage. We only saw quarter of the footage or third of the footage, for the trailer that was released at Fandom, and now they're recording again. Can't wait to see the other 2/3 of that movie.
Hans Zimmer worked with a choir over FaceTime to craft the Dune trailer's Pink Floyd cover.
I saw that, yeah. And it was great. I can't believe they did it over Zoom. To be honest, I've only seen the Dune trailer once. But yeah, it was memorable. I think a lot of people are describing this movie as being, I don't know if it's the right interpretation, but like Game of Thrones, but on a cinematic level. Elements of it. I don't know anything about Dune, but that's what people are saying. It looks promising.
Now
I was angry at what's the Hans Zimmer, because I was like I was following the production of Tenet for a while, and then when he dropped out, I was like, what the heck? And it was the first time Christopher Nolan, or I like to call him Chrissy, it's first time Chrissy and Hans Zimmer. First time they haven't worked together since forget Inception, probably, I don't know. But they work together for a lot of their films, and they have such a great partnership. And when you watch a lot of the interviews they do together when they're like searching or exploring sound for their films, it's real interesting. It's beyond my capabilities of understanding, but I'm still like real interested in it. And when I found out he wasn't doing it, I was like, this mother trucker. And then I found out he only dropped it because his dream was to score Dune. And I said, okay,
wow,
I'll let this one go, Hans Zimmer. But next time.
Do we know who was a composer for Tenet? Was it Junkie XL?
I'm
just trying to
Ludwig
think.
Göransson.
Yeah, Ludwig. Yeah, guy from Mandalorian.
The guy who did Mandalorian. Oh,
yeah, Mandalorian and Black
He won
Panther.
an Emmy for that, right?
Getting all the hype.
Ludwig came. His origins were in Community, the TV series. He was a composer for that. He hooked up with Donald Glover's team when he became Childish Gambino, and produced his first few albums. I think he continues to produce some of his content, and from there kind of got. I think he got noticed. He did the score for. I can't remember if he did Fruitvale Station, but he definitely did the score for Creed, and then Ryan Coogler brought him through for Black Panther. And then obviously he was well known from there because he was nominated for an Oscar for his soundtrack. And did he win?
He's a talent man, that guy.
No, actually,
he won for Mandalorian, right? Not for the whole series, but I think for a particular episode. I think it was the back half of the first season. He won it. Yeah.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay, that's cool. Congratulations to him.
Yeah. Shout out to my boy. How do you say his first name again?
Ludwig.
Ludwig or Ludwig?
Yeah, that guy.
Ludicrous,
Ludicrous.
Who here's watched Tenet?
Not me. Not yet.
Oh,
not yet. I actually wanted to watch it in the cinemas. I just haven't not had a chance to go to the cinemas at all.
That's surprising.
I'm with you.
Yeah, I don't really know if I want to watch Tenet in the cinemas now.
Why is that?
Because it's reviews or
I don't know.
Cinemas.
Let's go together. Me and you, Ravi. Let's go on a date.
We should go watch an IMAX.
Oh.
I mean,
sorry.
I thought it had its flaws, but I still think it's worthy of watching in the cinemas just for the production value alone.
Nice.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And a lot of people actually really liked it. Let's see. Here's another news article. Bill and Ted Face the Music, which is a film, proving to be a huge success for MGM, making $32 million on voice on demand, video on demand, leads company towards profit. So that film made MGM make a profit. It's quite nice during this time.
Go MGM. Yeah, not one of the films that I wanted to watch. I don't think I've watched.
I have watched today.
Did you watch it?
You know, I'm just helping them turn a profit. Yep.
Yeah. Oh, nice. So you're the reason why MGM is getting the MON.
Did you pay them $32 million? What did you think of the film?
Yeah, it was okay.
It's apparently quite a light-hearted film, sort of
Yeah.
Hitchhiker's Guide sort of thing. But then
Yeah.
they bring back those old characters, Bill and Ted, Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves.
I just want Keanu Reeves to make more money because he's a nice guy.
I think he's kind of. I guess he was probably one of the draw cards for people going to watch that movie. I mean, I don't know. The original, I think, is quite significant. But I mean, Keanu Reeves is big at everything at the moment, so everything he's in, people are going to watch. So I think that's a good draw card. They just need him at Marvel.
Yes.
He wanted to play Wolverine.
He did. He could be playing someone else.
I'm just glad that I heard
Right.
Marvel asked him for every project. That's it.
Yeah, he could be playing someone else. I'm not going to say who. But it's coming
Spider-Woman.
up really. Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure Olivia Wilde is thinking Keanu Reeves needs to be Spider-Woman in the movie.
It's beautiful enough.
I can
anyway.
see that.
So here's a word for the year when it comes to film.
Okay.
Delayed. Well, it's just, I think there's so many films that have been delayed. Black Widow, West Side Story, Eternals, No Time to Die, Cats 2.
Cats 2.
Yeah, it's just a
I
lot.
thought we agreed never to bring that up on the
This
podcast.
is
What?
I'm just kidding.
What the hell is going on in this? What the hell? Sorry, I overreacted there.
I'm glad that's getting delayed.
Free Guy trailer, but with starring Ryan Reynolds.
I see it.
Love it. Love
Who's
this
excited
movie.
for
Oh,
that?
yes.
Very
I just want
excited.
to watch it, man. I'm so sick of things being delayed. I
Yeah.
want to watch it so bad. So many good films being delayed to next year. Damn it.
Yeah.
Sorry, yes, but Free Guy, yes. Sorry.
That's probably why I've started to
moment.
watch trailers again, honestly, because I'm watching some, parts of trailers because I watch them just to get my fix, because like I start thinking, well, I'm probably not going to watch it for like 2 years, or
Yeah.
or when
I'll forget
might
about
never
that.
watch it because cinemas might never open again.
Yeah.
But
Or imagine if they just never, like, anything
Right
ever
now.
happened ever again.
Why don't we open a business of
Yep.
cinemas
Mhm.
that we
Yep.
put the chairs outside? Huh?
Are we going to do Cinema Paradiso? Is that what we're doing?
Ah.
pretty much. But they
And then we can
they weren't
play-
really social distancing.
We can
in
play
the
our
cinema.
episode.
The Batman pushed back to 2022.
Disgusting.
Oh,
Yeah.
here's a cool news article. Pixar's Soul is skipping theaters to go to Disney Plus.
But are they going to do the same thing with Mulan and
Oh, I
charge us extra
heard
money?
that they are competing against Wonder Woman at this stage. In
Wonder
terms of
Woman?
release date.
Wonder Woman
Like,
is it Christmas time?
Yeah, I think that Soul is also Christmas time, potentially, but if I'm not
Yeah.
mistaken.
It's wonderful.
I wouldn't be surprised, because that's when a lot of films come out during that time. For example, the great movie Cats came out on the 24th of October, or 26th it might have been.
The great movie Cats.
The greatest.
The great.
The great
Quotation marks. The great.
Here's an interesting article. For the Oscars, drive-in screenings will now count towards eligibility. But they really...
Sorry.
they
I'm
really...
cracking up at Ravi.
Lavi.
Lavi. Yeah.
Lavi Plasad. We really need to, like, get rid of all the eligibility quota. Why would you... It's kind of stupid anyway. Why do you need to screen it in a cinema for it to be
Yeah.
a film that is regarded for the awards? It just seems silly to me. Like,
It's
some
because they're holding on to
films-
their traditions because they can't grow. Oh, sorry?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly it. Like,
But I'm sure
some films have like screened their film in like maybe about 10 cinemas just so that they can be qualified for the Oscars. It just seems dumb to me. It seems
Yeah, I'm with you, man.
You think this podcast could qualify for the Oscars?
I think we
already
should.
nominated in several categories, including
Wow.
worst podcast,
I
most
think you're thinking the
terrible
Razzies.
present.
That sounds like Razzies, yeah.
The Razzies.
Oh, sorry, yeah, I got it wrong. It's the Razzies, yeah.
Yeah.
Or the
I do
Pezzies,
like
which
the,
are the
I do like
Pezzies,
the
which
idea
are the
of,
podcast Razzies.
I also like the Razzies, but I also like the idea of showing films outside. I mean, like, it just feels like an old school thing to do. I think they were
Yeah,
trying
cool.
to do in New Zealand, if I'm not mistaken. Were they?
No,
Well, since
sure.
I'll just give
But
some
those were
context. I'll just some context for listeners who aren't living in New Zealand currently. Well, you probably heard the news. We're in level 1, so that means we've got 0 active cases of coronavirus as of the recording of this podcast. Who knows? Things may change.
Yeah. Beat it twice. Third time lucky, it might take over the country.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, whose side am I on, right?
obviously,
Sound like you're on the
COVID-19.
virus side, Tom.
So yeah. Anyone got any other news that they've heard that they want to bring to the table?
Over the last couple of weeks.
Come to your superhero corner right here, folks. We're getting.
I don't think
some
anything. Hey, let's move on. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, let's move on.
Getting some interesting news. If you don't know, Jamie Foxx's Electro has been cast in Spider-Man 3. There's a Tom Holland Spider-Man, and they also have added Benedict Cumberbatch, Doctor Strange, and Spider-Man 3. Very exciting news. What do you guys think?
Significant because Jamie Foxx was in a Spider-Man that wasn't under the MCU Sony deal. The Amazing Spider-Man 2, which was released in 2000 and something. And so
13.
bringing a character from outside of that universe into this one is just adding fuel to the fire about this multiverse that we keep hearing about. The MCU is probably going to explore.
But he is not the first. Spoilers for a certain film. Has everyone in this podcast seen Far From Home?
Oh, Fantastic Four. Oh, wait. Huh?
Spider-Man
Yes,
2
the-
Far From
Yes,
Home.
I know
yeah,
what you're
the
talking about,
post-
Benny.
You've
Yeah.
seen it, Tom?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Spoilers for those who haven't seen it, just skip ahead like 30 seconds. J. Jonah Jameson is going to be in... is it Jonah J. Jameson or is it...
J. Jonah
I always
Jameson.
get this mixed up.
J.J. Abrams.
Because his
Remember
name
J.
is
Jonah
J.K.
Jameson.
Simmons, and then he's playing J. Jonah Jameson.
And he's...
We're going to have a real problem here because we told people to skip 30 seconds and the spoiler's just been pushed back. So they're going to skip forward. It's fine. We're just going to catch the spoiler.
That guy that we're talking about
Yep.
20 seconds earlier is going to be in... it was at the end of a film, and he's going to be there for
He's
us.
from-
And
Or
he
maybe
was in
not.
the
They might drop
original
it.
3 Spider-Man, Sam Raimi's Spider-Mans.
Oh,
Which
Now
was
you're just
released-
providing more spoilers to
Yeah.
Sorry.
And
But another good thing is
newsflash,
Sam Raimi is coming to direct Doctor Strange.
Come on. There we go.
I've
There we go.
had
Saying
several
Strange is gonna be
daydreams
doing
that I
this.
would be directing Doctor Strange 3, but I think that will not happen. So
Oh.
Benny for
You can,
president.
because this is Doctor Strange 2.
okay, well let's
It can
hope.
happen. You can make your dreams
You
come
got this,
true.
man.
Hey,
Yeah,
I
we
just
didn't
want to
cut it
say
out, did we?
from the bottom of my heart, Kevin Feige, I love you, man.
Too late. It's too late.
Too late.
he
He's
is
seen
plotting
the
against
other
you.
It's too late. He's plotting against you, bro.
Yeah.
Good luck sleeping tonight. Sleep with an eye open, bro.
It's a callback to episode 2. All right. So, are we done with the news? That's all the news that we need to bring, right?
Yes, please.
Yes, please.
Okay. Now let's go on to the films that we have watched in the past,
Oh.
ever since we last recorded one of these things, which to you, dear listener, will be 2 weeks ago, hopefully, because Benny would have got off his butt and edited these things.
Hey, stay on your butt.
Yeah. So I am going to bring a film that we can all discuss because we have all seen it. It's a bit of a mind screw genre type of film, directed and written by Charlie Kaufman, the writer of such films as Anomalisa, Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind, and that's another one, Being John Malkovich. He is one of my favorite writers and directors. He has been for some time. It's based on a 2016 novel of the same name, released on Netflix on September the 4th. And the plot: a young woman contemplates ending her 6-week relationship with her boyfriend Jake while taking a trip to meet their parents on their farm. His parents on their farm.
The appearance.
So it's quite a simple story, I think. It's sort of linear, sort of like it's quite it's
That's straightforward. It's
cause
easy to
and
understand.
effect. No, in reality, it's quite. This is if you've seen any Charlie Kaufman directed or written film, there's bound to be some level of labyrinthine kind of mystery to it. And it just so happens that, in my opinion, this is his most confusing film yet.
Yeah.
Well, confusing on the surface. So this was Ravi's first Charlie Kaufman film, which is quite the introduction into this world. I'd like to hear Ravi's thoughts on this film first. What did you think, man?
It was funny because I remember telling these guys I'm gonna watch this movie purely because I watched the trailer, and it just seemed like had some kind of thriller vibe. I felt like something bad was going to happen. I was like, this is a good movie to watch. And yeah, no, when I went into it, like Benny said, never seen a Charlie Kaufman film. I expected it to be simple, like the synopsis says, and I still do not know what this film is about. Even after conversations that me and Benny have had off camera, I'm still scratching my head trying to figure out what this film is about. It's so mind-bending, which I did not expect. I expected this film to be quite a neat movie, maybe beautifully written, just quite a simple, eloquent film by this director that sounds great. And then it just felt like something, like I described it like watching Legion, which if you've seen Legion, it's an X-Men show that's quite mind-bending. As well as like WandaVision, which is not even out yet, but that also looks mind-bending. It's like they got together, had a baby, and this was this film, because it just plays on the idea like this. I don't want to spoil it for anyone, but just some of the ideas that it plays around with, you kind of, I still don't know. I wrote a review, and by the end of it, I still don't know what it's about.
It's quite confusing, on first watch, or if you kind of, it kind of like feeds you certain clues throughout, but it never really spoon feeds you anything. I feel it's quite purposeful in that way. What are your guys' thoughts on it as well? Did you enjoy it, or
loved it? Yeah, it was really straightforward for me, though. It made total sense. I think what really happened, and this is a very small spoiler for pretty early on in the movie, right? She just breaks the fourth wall, and I think that threw people off, and so they think it's confusing, but really they're just scared.
You're talking about the moment where she stared at the camera, right?
Yeah, she just stares at the camera. She's like, it's really, really unsettling. You feel it, and you're like, stop looking at me. Why can't you see me? And then, it's great.
So she's secretly Deadpool?
Yeah.
Julius, what did you think of this film?
It was confusing. I had to watch it twice.
Wow. Nice.
I watched it ages ago in September. What month is it now?
It's October. Well, at the time of recording this.
We could just lie and say it's like November, so it doesn't seem...
Just to make it sound effective.
It's November 2025, yeah.
Yeah.
No, I really dug it. I think it's a movie you need to watch more than once to try and...
One's enough.
To get a bit of grasp. I mean, for me, it helped a lot. Kaufman, I don't know what kind of director he is. The only movie I've seen of his is John Malkovich and Eternals. Well, I kind of have an idea of what kind of director he is, but while I was watching it the first time, because I haven't seen a movie of his in ages, I was like, okay, is he one of those directors who everything's going to be spoon-fed to me, or am I going to have to pick up things by myself and connect the dots? And by the second viewing, it very much so that I had to pick up the dots, because if I was being honest, the first time I watched it, like I wasn't in a good mindset, but the second time I watched it, I was like, I wouldn't say in awe, but I was like, it's so hard to structure a film this way, and have so much trust in your actors for them to. I mean, the acting is amazing. I think Jesse Plemons and the other one. I'm sorry, I forgot her name. Sorry.
To your credit, she is a fairly new actor. Jessie
Lucy,
Buckley.
Yes. Oh yeah, she was in
Jeff Buckley.
the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them.
Was she? Okay.
True.
Well, I hope so. But yeah, I really loved it. I dig it. I tell people, I really tell people to watch it, watch it with an open mind, and just explore the whole. Let your imaginary take you where it wants to. Drink a beer. Have some cannabis when you're watching this. smoke
I know
some.
why Tom is laughing.
Vote yes. No.
Yep. Vote yes.
That won't be relevant
Watch
by the
this
time
movie
this
hard.
podcast comes out, but you know.
We'll know the outcome by then.
So, yeah, I mean, this film grew on me as well, I think. I just want to start picking it apart and kind of like coming to it. Like, I think Ravi wanted to know what I thought of my theory of how it went down.
Yeah. Oh, cool. Yes.
Yes. So I was so here's a spoiler discussion for I'm thinking of ending things. But before we go into spoilers, sorry, I'm going to just give my overall review. I thought it was quite. If you like trippy kind of mind screw films that have some sense of puzzling nature to them, but really well shot, really well paced, I really enjoyed it, and I'd give this a 8.5 out of 10, I think, actually. Yeah. I didn't enjoy the film at first, but I watched it with some people who might not have enjoyed the ending, therefore it kind of soured my experience. But then, I thought about it and I watched a few bits here and there again, and then it kind of like clicked for me and I really enjoyed it. Right. So yeah, go and watch it, and it's actually kind of really cool, and just expect that. But we're going to go into a spoiler discussion.
Yes.
Cool for this film.
I love this film.
This is the thing. It's quite an interesting film to explore and discuss, so I think it's worthwhile. So, what happened here? All spoilers. Yeah. Let's go.
I think my favorite thing is Julius talking about trying to join the dots. And it's like, if you start collecting all these different dots you're trying to join, and eventually they all just spill out and nothing makes sense. And all of your dots are just sitting there, not joined to the other dots. And you're like...
Because one of the things is, like, his room is filled with so much books and magazines and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay, it can't just be that he's somebody who reads a lot. His personality, like his whole mind must be like filled with this, with consuming popular culture, with media and stuff. So that definitely should like, what's the word?
Reveal in a sense.
He'd watch this podcast then.
Yeah, influence the way he acts towards Lucy. The lens that I saw, it made sense more to me watching it the second time. Was like a lot of this was just in his imagination that that Lucy is, is just a product of his imagination. I don't know if that was the way you guys watched it.
I agree. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah. And that end scene, that whole crazy, ballet thing, was a representation of him going towards like death, like because he's old and stuff like that, and so it was a whole lot of metaphor. And
I think that ballet scene was actually a representation of what really happened between him and the girl,
Luce.
My theory is, well, there's a clue at the beginning of the film where the old man is looking out of the window and he's muttering to himself, and he starts to recount the story of what happened to him and Lucy, and then then it cuts away to her, really beautiful snow scene on the floor on the street, and then it cuts back and it's actually Jake staring through the window, muttering to himself, and then it cuts back to them again, and Jake's just pulls up in his car. The first clue there is that Jake is the old man.
Yeah. There we go. That's a big one. That's a big one.
Yeah. So, I felt that way. Like, and that this whole film is an old man reminiscing over what could have happened if he had found someone he loved.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I want to say, just to clarify, what I meant was after that ballet scene.
Oh,
that whole sequence when he was crying in his truck and those animated pigs were leading him. That was like a representation of this guy's near his death and he's reevaluating his life. But I just wanted to add that. Sorry.
This I think what I really what threw me off was just like the fact that this film for me felt quite non-linear, and it wasn't the actual structure of the film, or maybe it was actually a structure of the film, having like these two storylines trying to like both have the spotlight. I mean, like at the surface, you're like, oh, it's just about these two kids going to these parents' house for dinner, and then like this old man shows up being like, what's this old man all about? And then he's watching this movie, and the movie finishes and the credits just take over, and you're like, what is going on? And you know, like it's just like, why is this man important? Like the things that started throwing me off was like when she goes down to the basement, and by the way, that door was freaking me out. Like scratch marks, I was like, she's gonna die.
Yes, yeah, I was like,
vibes. Like, it just seems like the moment, like I said this to Benny off camera, like yesterday, I said the moment that she, and I think I wrote this in my review as well, the moment she went to the farmhouse, I was like, things are going to go bad, because it just felt like you hear about dead animals, you know, just like the appearance are quite odd. Jake's somehow now becoming this angry person, like trying to piece the puzzle. But the moment that got me, that, and I like Benny's theory, because I'm kind of went to that place as well where Jake and the old man are connected, is when she goes down to the basement to go dry some clothes. She opens the washing machine, and the old man's uniform is in the washing machine.
Yeah,
and I was like, "What?" Like,
and you also notice that her paintings are on the walls, but they're his paintings.
Yeah,
and the photos
as well.
Like she looks at the photos, and then it's like he's like, "Oh, that's me." She's like, "No, it's me on the wall." Like just this film, just like the mechanics of it, just so trippy. But I'm excited for the second film.
That further reinforced the point for me that she was a construct of his mind. The very fact that she would start recounting details of how they met. You know, they met in a bar, and she was kind of. But then he said hi to him. He struck up a conversation. But then the order of things started to blur, and then the mum, awesomely played by Toni Collette, and then the dad by Thewlis, David Thewlis. I'm a big Thewlis fan.
Me too.
I think he's great in everything he is in. He even makes bad films.
He's in Harry Potter too.
They are. Yeah, he's in Harry Potter. He's
Wait, just a side question. Did you like him in Wonder Woman?
I haven't seen Wonder Woman.
I liked his reveal.
You might hate him. You might hate him now. Sorry, Robbie. I think a lot of... Sorry, carry on.
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'll just continue with finishing my thought. Then there were discrepancies found in her story about how they met, that the parents point out. And that was the old man trying to invent a story where she and him could have plausibly met in the bar. So it's just, and then he would change details, and you can see every time something uncomfortable comes up. For example, when she starts to mention ending her life in the car, then they say, "Oh, we're here already," and then they're at the house. Or when they start to mention something worrying, it's the old man's thoughts of suicide coming back to him. The film's called "I'm Thinking of Ending Things," which refers to a relationship, obviously, but it's also the older man, just bargaining with himself, and every time he starts to think about the thoughts about ending his life come to him, the subject would quickly change to something else. He'd do something to get his mind off it. So then my theory is, and I think I share with Tom as well in this, if he wants to explain some of it, is that it's all in his head, and this is a story of the old man. Everything that happens in the film is in chronological order. So when he leaves the house, he's thinking about them meeting up and driving to their parents' house, which never actually happened in real life because he never had someone. And then he's mopping, and then he's hearing a song that the theater production is playing, and then he incorporates that song. He brings people he sees one of the girls passing him in the hallway that looks down and looks a little like, you know, she's pitiful, she's like him kind of thing. So she puts him in the ice cream shop. He puts her in the ice cream shop as one of the waiters, and even at the ice cream, store, they're like they are telling the characters within his view, this is not right. This is a dream. You should leave, kind of thing. And that's even him, his own imaginations, telling himself that he's that they're not welcome within his imagination. Even that point where we see them about to kiss in the car, and you see that little shot of him peering through a little gap, and then that's even his own characters are disgusted at the fact that he would make up this situation, and then he says, "Someone's watching us." So the imagined version of him goes to meet the real him in the high school. There's a lot there. There's a lot there to unpack, but that's my interpretation of what happened.
Nice.
I totally agree. Like, I thought that watching it, because the time jumps got for me, again, the house was like kind of like a revelation in its own, but like, you know, as she kind of goes up these stairs that kind of feel like it's like, I don't know, Fast and the Furious, where they have that really long run trip. The stairs are like never ending, and when she gets up there, like, you just see like things shifting, like the age of the parents just go from like young to old, and then Jake's caring for them, and then like just things start to happen, like you're like, wait a minute, it's like he's adjusting or editing things as this film's progressing. It's the little things, it's like the subtleties, but if you pick up on it, I'm still mind blown, man.
Exactly. One of the things that he really wanted was for people to see him care for his parents. So he was caring for the mum, and he wanted someone to see him, you know, caring for his mum, because it looks like the mum got sick and he cared for her, but no one saw what he did because, you know, everyone was gone, kind of thing. And then he was blaming that. He was like, well, if I hadn't done that, then I might have found someone who I could have lived with. So it's just his journey as he goes about rationalizing and imagining how it might have happened before eventually, you know, it's debatable whether or not he actually committed or went through with it. But I guess that's the ending is up to interpretation, where he receives his Nobel Prize in front of badly aged crowd and sings a song, which made some of the people watching with me cringe a little bit. Tom or Julius, what did you guys think? Julius, you had something to say to add to that.
Yes, that's right.
Did you?
He did.
Are you there, Julius?
Sorry?
You had something to add, right? Sorry.
Yeah. Oh, nah. Oh, sorry?
You were about to add something before.
I'm thinking of ending things?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, man, I loved it. It was a great film. I really recommend it. I told my friends to watch it. I don't think they have. Yeah, because this was ages ago. Boat baskets. Yeah, but I appreciate everything about it. The score, the amount of detail in it. Like, there were just moments where I was like, I can still remember moments that were like freaky. Like that moment in the car where she was talking in her mind, I think, or like, you know, in her mind, and then like those moments where he would just like turn, and I'm like, oh, flip. So like everything just added at the end for me.
So good. Like, she's like, the inner workings of her mind was great as well, because she's like thinking, and then she's obviously thinking about stuff, and then he would like, it's like he could hear what she was saying.
Is
it his mind?
Because he was imagining what she's imagining.
Her mind is his mind.
Yeah, because he was making up everything that was happening, sort of thing. So, whenever she started to think like troubling thoughts, he'd just be like, "What? What are you thinking?" Because it just didn't make sense, because he didn't know how to imagine good. That's what happens when you're not a good writer. Tom, have you got anything to say you wanted to add to that?
I like how you put everything. That's what I was like saying earlier. I'm like, I like, me and Benny got the same like point of view with the film, because it's good that we have the same one, because you're good at explaining it. Because it's a difficult one to put into words, and I'm glad you did, because it's like, it takes a long time and a lot of words to get it right. But it's like, it's one of those films that I feel like if you think you understand it while you're watching it, you probably don't. It's in the thinking about it afterwards, when you're like, oh, and you like join all these different dots, and then all those dots start to make sense, and you're like, oh, it was imaginary the whole time. And that was pretty much how it happened to me. I think it was that night after we watched the movie. We should watch together, by the way, Benny. I don't like all these comments you're making about people you watch the movie with. Wow. Mate.
The other people, not you. I think I get the feeling Tom actually liked it more than I did. I don't know.
Yeah, I did. Because you were like, I don't know if I liked it. I was like, loved the movie. Great times.
Yeah, I came out not liking it, but Tom immediately enjoyed it on first watch. I had to think about it and theorize.
Because, it didn't just, it wasn't one of those ones that just like set up the next scene, and everything happens how you expect. It's it gives you something to think about, and then while you're thinking about it, they change it, and you're like, "Hang on, was I thinking right? Like, wait, what does she do for a job? What does she study? Huh?" And then,
there were a few things where she changed, right? When she changed into a different actor, and she started to become a film critic, because he was changing. This was all his. Those were the books that they found in his room, because those were things that he was interested in, not necessarily she was interested in. But he kept going, wait, but she's that doesn't work. So. What if she was a film critic? Yeah. Or I don't think I want to be with the film critic.
Interested in whatever he thinks she can be interested in.
Yeah.
I just have to say one thing: the amount of theoretical, philosophical, the amount of when it came to the dialogue between Jake and the young woman, or Lucy, it's IMDb calls her a young woman, I guess, because she doesn't have a name, because she's not really, I don't know if that's a clue, but the amount of dialogue, if you listen to it, a lot of it's theory, philosophical, really psychological stuff, and I was like, wow, this is pretty deep for a conversation between, I mean, they're both academic people, supposedly, but the conversation is really, it's next level when it comes to even the Big Bang, because some of it is really, really intellectual stuff, and I was like, must be a great couple.
Yeah, I will say, her name changed throughout the film. That's why she's called Young Woman. I think they called her Jess, and then they called her, I don't know, something else, similar names, but they just slightly changed her name throughout the film, just as a sort of clue. It's sort of clue that it was all, he was making it up as he went along.
I think that was the only reason I was able to come to that conclusion, is because everything kept changing. I'm like, why would things change? And I was like, that's what my brain does.
Yeah.
For all my imaginary girlfriends.
And even, it's a joke. I think we'll end that there, unless anyone else wants to add anything to that discussion.
Go watch it. It's great.
Yeah. Definitely recommend it. I can all agree on that.
If you buy a frozen dessert, don't just let it melt.
Those sorts of things were just infuriating sometimes. I want to eat that ice cream. It looked really good, even though it was served by someone with a bad rash.
Yeah. And then he goes and throws it away, and he's throwing away heaps of them. How many times have you imagined this situation, old man?
Yeah, that's another clue. Yeah, he's imagined it many times before.
Yeah, he's thinking of anything.
I have to say, one of the coolest shots in this film, before we end things on this film, is when she's going down the stairway for the basement, and then the audio kind of fuzzes out where she can't hear him properly, and then she turns around, and then it's snowing inside the basement. I was
yeah,
that's great.
It's there's some kind of distortion between the two characters. That's why the audio is really thing, and then the walls start moving as she gets closer to the room where the old man kind of lives, and I literally thought it was of someone that was trapped in there. Seriously, guys, this movie gives you some heebie-jeebies stuff.
Yeah, and that was even just him being self-deprecating and giving his character a chance to discover her own things. And that just goes in within the mind of an old man who's been dissecting himself so long with mental. That's a lot of depression can be complex thinking, and you've thought about this over and over again and explored all the avenues in this labyrinthine kind of maze you'd made for yourself. So that's what it can feel like, and I felt this film really demonstrated that well.
Yeah, we heard that.
I've got my little cousins playing, little nephews playing in the background, but I'll just try and edit that out.
No, leave it in.
Leave it in. Scare some people.
Leave everything in.
Family man.
Where did the kids
That's my
from?
policy now. We'll move on from that. I really enjoyed that film.
I think
maybe we'll all rate it out of 10. I'll rate that 8 out of 10. Yeah, no, 8 out of 10.
No, it's great. Before we did our spoiler review, you gave it an 8.5.
Or did I?
Oh.
No, I think it's an 8 out of 10. I changed my mind again.
Well, I give it an 8.5 then.
Oh, see, that's what you call correct comparison of ratings. Julius, what rating would you give this out of 10?
I mean, I don't know. I'm thinking 7. It's either 7 or 9. Let's go with 8.
It is that kind of film, right?
In
It's
between.
like
I don't know.
it's quite
It's
difficult
up
to
there,
pin it down.
But yeah, I'll go for 8. 8 seems really good.
Okay. Any movie that has me like confused and like I don't normally write reviews about anything except for superhero comic book stuff, but when a movie like this gets me to write a review that needs 2 parts, you know I'm going to give it a 9.
Yeah,
because it's that good.
Wow, Ravi rated this film more than the rest of us. I didn't expect that at all.
Oh yeah!
Wow, that's amazing. When I heard that Ravi was going to watch this film, I was honestly worried because I thought he would.
Excited.
I was like, oh man, I really hope he enjoys this at least a little bit, but I didn't know you'd enjoy it that much.
There was no 16s,
Oh. Yeah.
Oh, that was probably
Not Ravi's style.
Let's go into what other people have watched. I thought I'd just spend some time talking about that since we've all watched it. And it
That's
might
like
be an
a
interesting
whole
one.
podcast right there, that movie itself.
Mini review. Let's go with Julius. What have you been watching lately?
Worth mentioning, just TV shows really. 2 of them I'll probably just mention is Ted Lasso. Really, that was a surprise for me. Really comforting show. Laughed out loud in a lot of moments. Found myself rewinding it just to laugh, and I only did that with What We Do in the Shadows and other comedies. So
Wow.
I really liked it. And The Boys season 2. Continues to be great television right now. It's finished. Last week was
finished.
It just finished. Most of the episodes, man, it ends in crazy bombshells and like shocking reveals. So
I wouldn't mind watching. I wouldn't mind watching The Boys, the entire series with these two here, Tom and Ravi, who apparently haven't seen it yet. Have you guys seen it?
Haven't you guys seen it yet?
I don't know what boys are.
Oh,
Ravi, did you see?
I've seen the first episode of season 1, and I just have to say, this was before I watched I'm Thinking About Ending Things, and I told Beanie because after that movie wrecked me for other stuff for a little while, and I had to go back to Big Bang Theory, which I'll talk about later. I like this TV show. It just gives you another layer and different dynamic when it comes to superheroes. It's like a completely different side. I'm just gonna say that, like, what you're used to with Marvel and DC and all these other big properties, what The Boys does, it gives you like a different angle that you never thought you'd see when it comes to superheroes, and it's very, I'm just going to say that I've only seen 1 episode, but I will eventually watch it. The rest of it after I finish my...
Yeah, highly recommend it. It's a smart show. Sometimes it's on the nose too much, but most of the time, it's perfect.
After The Boys, Ravi, had to sanitize yourself with some happy viewing. Big Bang Theory.
Is that a segue?
True.
Are you trying to segue right here?
True.
I should have given that preface for anyone going to watch I'm Thinking of Ending Things. It can be seen by some as a depressing movie. It's got quite heavy themes, and if you're quite sensitive to that sort of thing, I wouldn't recommend it. But if you are fine, then check it out. Yeah. What else? You watched The Boys, Julius?
Yeah. And Ted Lasso. That's the majority of the
What is Ted
stuff I
Lasso
watch.
about? I feel like I've heard about it. I just don't know what the concept of that show
Ted
is.
Lasso, it's an American coach. It's American coach played by that comedian from SNL.
Jason Sudeikis.
He's married to Olivia Wilde. He gets the opportunity as an American who has no idea how to play or anything to do with soccer. He's been given the manager role of a a major soccer football team in England. The head person did that in spite of someone else, but I don't want to spoil it. Other than it's this character is he's such a joyful character. Nothing brings him down. If you can't think of a character that is just happy all the time, this is the character. Like, he's hopeful and joyful, even in annoying circumstances. But he's just such an enjoyable character to watch and root for, which is great.
As soon as you said soccer and comedy, the movie that came straight to my mind was Kicking and Screaming.
Not Shaolin Soccer?
No. Will Ferrell's movie, Kicking and Screaming.
Yeah, Kicking and Screaming.
I think you've offended Julius, Ravi.
Ravi, you know that movie that you just mentioned? That's where I got You Feel Me, Cracker? It's that little blonde kid who, like, when he first meets Will Ferrell, the coach, he's like trying to add all that rap things, and then he says, "You feel me, cracker?" And Will Ferrell's like, "That you shouldn't know that word." That's where I got that phrase from.
Wow, I have to watch that movie again now just to get the reference.
Yeah, but those are stuff I watched, dude.
Is it anything like Happy Go Lucky, that film with Sally Hawkins, where she's constantly happy even no matter what goes on around her? I don't know. If it's anything like that, I'd enjoy it. But I haven't seen that, but it sounds like it. Yeah, anything that goes wrong, he sees the positive in everything. It's ranked 111th on the IMDb top 250 for TV shows.
And it just came out this year.
Yeah, which is the second highest ranked TV show of 2020 behind The Last Dance.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah,
well, it is a good show. I recommend it. For those who are having a hard time, because it will make you smile.
It's a good balm for these times.
Yeah, it is. Like, it really is. Sorry.
Good balm. Good balm. Oh, speaking of balms, Tom, have you got any good films or TV shows that you've watched lately?
I've done nothing except watching movies and TV shows.
Come on.
So I've decided I'll narrow it down.
This is a brief change from who he was before.
Yeah.
From his usual. I don't know. I haven't watched anything.
What is film? I thought I'd narrow it down, so I finished 3 TV series that I'd kind of had sitting around for a while. BoJack Horseman and Rick and Morty. BoJack Horseman, great. It's great.
BoJack Horseman is my favorite TV series of.
Yeah, it deserves that that sort of that high rating that Benny's given it. It's worth it. Yeah, Rick and Morty, because it's just a bit of haha. And I finally finished What We Do in the Shadows. I watched all of it.
Come on, somebody!
Yeah.
Have you seen it?
The whole thing. All 2
Season 1 and 2.
1 and 2.
Yeah.
Smashed the whole thing real quick. Super fast.
Was it that good that you binged it that fast?
No. It's just been really, really long since our last record. No, I did. I smashed it in like a week.
Excellent.
Yeah, I was like jamming. Yeah.
What was some of your favorite episodes, if you don't mind me asking? Season 2?
So I finished it quite a while ago because it's been a while since we last recorded. Yeah.
7 years ago.
Jackie Daytona?
Yes.
Finally someone to talk to about this damn show.
Yeah, it's really good. I've got written down here. Beautiful, just beautiful. The Jermaine vibe, very nuanced. There you go.
That's the highest praise I've ever heard you give something. So
yeah, it's better than I'm Thinking of Anything. There you go.
Come on, somebody.
And I really like I'm Thinking of Anything. Those are my 3 TV shows I thought I'd bring up, and then I got 3 movies that I thought I'd bring up, and a fun quote from my mum. Yeah. So I watched Greyhound. That's the Tom Hanks one.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
That was cool. I felt like it was Fury, but on the ocean. It was same sort of vibes for me as Fury, and I really liked Fury. That's the one in the tank, in case you can't remember. And
Bradley
it was
Pitts.
great. I don't know if it was cool just because it was like my grandfather was in the merchant ships in the Navy and stuff, and he was sunk multiple times by the Axis. And so I was like, whoa, look at this cool movie that feels more relevant to me, even though I'm born on Anzac Day.
Wow.
And then we watched another World War II movie, right? Called Overlord. I don't know if you guys have seen that one. I feel like Ravi might like that.
Wow.
Overlord. Okay.
Yeah, it was cool. I think it had like some violent stuff in it. And then my mum said a great quote, which was, good to watch a movie with an actual story, not just sex and violence and killing. And the movie was all violence and killing, so clearly Mum's only got a problem with one thing in the movies. I thought that was hilarious. Just, put that out there.
Did you like that movie?
Yeah, it was... I was, like, confused. Yeah. Not as confused as I'm thinking of anything.
Guess who directed it? This guy named Julius.
It was you, wasn't it?
Julius Avery.
Oh, I forgot. I was trying to remember his last name.
That
I was like,
makes
Julius
sense.
something. All I know is his
You
last
lose
name
your
is
way.
written Julius.
You lose your way
But
in time. That's
Quite an
Nice.
experimental film, apparently.
What is the movie about?
Yeah.
I've never really heard of it.
Nazis.
just Nazis, you know?
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
there's some
Just
secrets there,
Nazis
but
doing
you should
Nazi
watch.
stuff.
Yeah, just
Like,
yeah.
It's not the. Is it? It's not the Nazi zombie film, is it?
It's the spoilers.
Is it? Oh, I haven't watched it. Flip. I
the
guess I
J.J.
just
Abrams
spoiled
one.
it.
yeah. It's a good time. It's a good time. Definitely
Okay.
check it out.
All
And
right.
then the third one was Freaks. It was the German version, not the one the Americans made. Freaks.
Freaks.
Ravi might like that one too. Some movies that Ravi might like. Catch my
Thanks,
vibe. Yeah.
What year did it come out?
I don't catch any vibes.
2018, is it?
Is it the German one?
A bold
Is
girl
it a good one?
discovers a bizarre, threatening, and mysterious new world beyond her front door after she escapes her father's protective and paranoid control. No,
Wow.
no? That's the one.
You know what makes me
I've
happy?
forgotten
though?
the movie, but I wrote down that Ravi would like it.
Wait. Is it Freaks? You're One of Us?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry, that's the one. Tipped by a mysterious tramp, a meek fry cook
That's
discovers
it.
she has superpowers
That's
and
the one.
uncovers an
Superpowers.
unsavory
Oh.
vast conspiracy.
Spoilers. Now Ravi's definitely
I
going to watch
see
it.
the connection. Because
Yeah,
you're
Ravi-
like superheroes.
Yeah,
and you're
anything
like
with
Ravi.
superheroes, I just say Ravi's going to like it.
I was going to say superhero links to our movie that we're going to discuss, but I was also going to say I'm thinking of ending things. Creepy Barns. It links to the movie
Yeah.
we're going to discuss as well. So yeah, there we go.
Yeah, but yeah.
Anything else you wanted to bring, Tom?
No, I just want to do 3 and 3, and it took longer than I thought it would. I have a really long list.
Yeah, it's fine.
Wow.
Yeah.
Awesome.
There we go.
Yeah.
Ravi, what have you been up
Shut
to
up.
in this past decade?
Yeah, so I think we've it's been a while. I don't think I've watched as much as Tom has, but we talked about a few things that I watched. Think about any things. Watched that, loved it, as you guys already know. Started watching The Boys season 1, episode 1. Have not finished. Apart from that, the two shows I'm going to talk about is The Big Bang Theory.
There we go.
Finished it. 12
There we
seasons. I don't know how
Damn.
many
Nice.
episodes.
Good job.
279 episodes.
So it makes sense that you haven't
281
watched anything else. It's a lot of episodes.
Only 270,000 episodes.
You know,
It
I
took
don't know
me
why I haven't watched
3
many
years,
things.
guys.
Just 297
Big
episodes.
Bang Theory is the Naruto of regular sitcoms.
Yeah.
I love
is the-
Naruto.
It is the longest running sitcom in history, as far as I'm aware of. If I'm not mistaken, it's 12 seasons.
Live action sitcom?
Live action sitcom, yeah.
Yeah, because
I think animated is Simpsons, right? Yeah. But you know, amazing. It's taken me a while to watch it because I've been watching other things at the same time, but it's just always been like a great, a settler, good laugh when you're watching things like, I'm thinking about ending things, but no, it's a great show. I watched the series finale last year, which made me want to watch even more. It's great. If you guys want to start watching it, 12 seasons. It's on Netflix.
I might just watch the
recommend it.
finale.
Or watch the finale. But no, I think this show, as opposed to watching like something at The Office, which I was emotionally wrecked by, was that I know that there's a prequel show which is called Young Sheldon, which is on my list to watch. But I think the show is done really well. I feel like, and I said this in my review, as the seasons go on, as the characters are fleshed out, They become a lot more relatable. Great show to watch. Check it out on Netflix. But the other show that I'm watching at the moment right now is The Umbrella Academy Season 2.
Ooh,
I've only watched the first 3 episodes. I'm on episode 4 at the moment. Still on episode 4. I'm really enjoying it. It's a really cool show. If you guys haven't seen the first season, go check it out again on Netflix. But this new season is pretty cool. I'm just going to say the aftermath. It's basically season 1 has a cliffhanger. I'm not going to say what it is, but it picks up. Season 2 picks up, and I just feel like this season is, a lot of people have said this as well, just feels a lot more well done. Like the storyline's a little bit more clear, kind of know where the characters are at, and if you like your superheroes, I always describe this show as like, if you like the X-Men, you'll like the show, because it takes like the concept of the X-Men and just like kind of flips on its head, because it's more kind of a family dynamic. Not going to spoil anything. I'm just going to say family dynamics of the show. But yeah, those are my 2 shows. What do you guys think? Obviously not for the Big Bang, because none of you guys have seen it yet.
Yeah, I like season 9, episode 3 of Big Bang Theory, where jokes. I haven't seen it all.
When I told my workmate that he said something about Umbrella Academy, I said I haven't watched it. He just looked at me like, in disbelief, just like, it's like eyes wide open, just kind of like,
yeah.
Why? What are you? Do you live on this earth? I'm just like, there's a big banner on Netflix. I ignore it. I don't watch it.
Yeah.
And he's, you're a monster. He said. So
it's funny because I started watching it, and then I was like, I'm going to finish off BoJack Horseman, and I finished off BoJack, and it stops like telling me to watch Umbrella Academy, and I kind of forgot about it until just then when Ravi brought it up.
It doesn't have the continue playing tab for you.
There's too many things in there now. Yep. Everyone uses my Netflix account. Haven't updated my Netflix account. Give me the password.
You don't create different profiles?
People are lazy. They just use mine.
You should just automatically log them into their own profiles, man.
They should log into their own profiles, and not just click on mine.
Yeah, well, put your one on the last slot so they don't go and get.
That's a smart move. I might have to do it because it's starting to ruin my recommendations, and that's a real problem.
You're getting recommendations for Thomas the Tank Engine, or any of your little nephew's ones.
Exactly.
Wow.
Although I had a recommendation for some like American barbecue cooking show, and I was like,
"Yeah, that's a great show, bro.
I'm gonna watch it. It looks really nice."
Is it Chief's Table Barbecue?
No, it's an American.
Some kind of barbecuing show, and I was like, "Oh, they like cooking. Looks real yum."
Looks
and I like MasterChef. I've been watching MasterChef as well. Yeah.
Australia. I'm just going to say,
raw.
Of course. Yeah.
While we're watching this at the moment,
this shrimp is raw.
New Zealand, they're doing the season finale of MasterChef Australia as we're watching this at the moment.
Oh yeah.
Spoilers, I know who wins.
Don't say.
Because it was already released in Australia.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my TV shows. I think you guys have seen season 1 of Umbrella Academy, and I believe Julius has seen season 2 already.
Yeah.
Oh, Julius.
Love it.
Absolutely
love it. I remember sharing it on one of our What We've Watched.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Was this the last one?
Oh, not the last one.
Oh, I started watching it too, and then I forgot about it.
It's a great show.
Nice. Can't wait to tell you guys after I finish watching it. Which is, I don't know how many episodes.
Next episode.
The next episode.
Yeah.
You guys will find out.
Yeah.
But yeah, those are my shows.
Excellent. Yeah. Yay!
That was amazing. Good job. Good job,
That was
everyone.
a great discussion.
I loved it.
You brought up that point about that movie?
Yeah. And you're wearing the same clothes.
Like 10 seconds ago. Because that's when we were
talking. So we haven't changed days. We didn't run out of time the last recording to complete this. So this is the same day, same recording. So I haven't shuffled my things in the background, clothes in the background, or anything like that.
Same smell.
Anyway, we've finished talking about news and films, and now we are going to talk about our film of the episode. Take it away, Ravi.
Alright, folks, we have got a film for you this week. I don't know why I'm sounding like this, but it sounds great.
Sounds
Use
good.
of Ravi.
Yeah, I like it like this. Just keep going.
The use of Ravi. The pick for this week is if you know me, my films, my genre, my niche, as you would say, is superhero films and TV shows.
This is a real niche.
It actually is. This movie is actually it is R-rated purely because of the violence and the special effects, and it is quite a gory film. So if you want to take your kids to watch this at home, because it's not available in the cinemas anymore, probably not a good decision. But this is a film. It's a fresh take on a known origin story of a famous superhero by the name of Superman, Clark Kent. But this movie is not that movie. This movie is called Brightburn, and it is from the producer, amazing producer by the name of James Gunn, who's done the Guardians of the Galaxy films, both 1 and 2. He's doing the upcoming Suicide Squad movie. This movie is, it's, I don't really know the director's name, but he has worked with James Gunn, and we watched it. What did you guys think?
Directed by David Yarovesky.
That is his name.
That's his
and
name.
It stars the likes of Elizabeth Banks, who's in a whole bunch of different things. Don't really know what she's famous for, but she's in a whole bunch of different things. Recently, I think she was in the Power Rangers movie. She was in, was it Bombshell?
Pitch Perfect.
Is that a movie? Pitch
Yeah.
Perfect. She's in a whole bunch of movies. Also stars actor's name who I don't know, but he's in The Office, plays Roy, Pamela Beasley's fiance. For those Office
David
fans,
Denman?
he's in this movie. That is his
I
name.
know him
I'm
from
really bad at
Replacements.
names. Wow, I don't know what that is, but that sounds great. And a child actor. This is a bit of facts trivia for you. The child actor who plays the main lead in the film is actually in Endgame.
Oh.
Avengers Endgame. Spoilers. He actually plays young Scott when they try to figure out time travel mechanics. He is actually the young version of Scott. So
Okay.
he did Brightburn, and then he went on to do Avengers. Small role, but what did you guys think of this movie?
Okay, who wants to go first?
Yeah, I mean, I went into this blind. I didn't see any trailers. I sort of knew it was kind of attached to some sort of superhero thing, like themes. And at first, it seemed like quite an ambitious tone they were going for, melding some sort of horror cliches with like all that stuff. I didn't like this film very much. It started off pretty good, like decent. I like the atmosphere. I like the build up. But it never really felt like it started or went anywhere from there.
Right.
Just building and building. How did you guys feel about that? Yeah. Because it was like an origin story where he kills some people. And it's rated R. It seems like a lot of the dialogue, I felt I didn't really like the dialogue too much, and actors that were trying their best in a film where sometimes it felt like it was written by a kid. Some really, really bad dialogue and confusion of themes. I don't think I really enjoyed the application of like a jump scare like horror to this kind of character and hero. It seemed a little bit I wasn't very
I think that this film was trying to do something that I guess superhero movies aren't very much known for, which is like a hero. Like they describe it as hero horror, which is trying to take the genre into like a different take. I mean, there have been directors that have a horror background that have tried to do this, but we haven't really seen it. I think the New Mutants was another attempt at it, which I haven't seen yet. But it was trying to take that kind of take on it, but at the same time giving it like a fresh perspective on this very well known story of Superman, Clark Kent, how he lands on the Kent farm, and the question that this movie kind of posed was, what if an alien does land, an alien child he doesn't necessarily have to be good.
He's evil Superman, pretty much.
It can be, he's pretty much Homelander for you, the boys.
Come on, somebody. Sorry.
Yeah.
For you boys fans. But this was that kind of take on it where he wasn't necessarily like good as as we know that Superman is or Clark Kent is. So that was that kind of take on it. I think it was a very interesting film. I looked at it from kind of some of the choices that were made in the film. We don't really get to figure out a lot about this kid, or his species or his race. Like we know with Clark Kent, Superman, he's a Kryptonian. We know that he comes from Krypton. We know that the reason why he was sent, because of destruction of Krypton. If you don't know comics, that's the reason why Clark Kent ended up on Earth. But yeah, we don't really know too much about that until we know these events start to transpire. But I've only seen this movie once, but I thought it was an interesting take on this well-known origin story.
Julie,
and I.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
I was wondering what Julius and Tom thought of it as well. What did you think? Was it good? Was it bad?
Yeah.
I really liked the concept behind it of like, Superman coming out evil because, nobody could really stop him if he decided he was going to be a bad guy. So it was cool sort of seeing that unfolds with this kid, Brandon.
Yeah, Brandon Breyer.
Yep.
Brandon Breyer and Brightburn.
Yeah, Brightburn.
Broom broom.
So
it's a lot of bees going
cool.
on.
I agree with the jump scares at the start. I was like, oh, what kind of movie is this going to be? Like, are they trying to scare me or like what's happening? And then it did feel slow to start. I think it'd be like if there was a sequel, I'd watch it. Just because it felt like it was a whole movie to set up this character. Which is, I suppose, kind of interesting because I caught that little split second of Crimson Bolt in the credits from Ravi's last pick. Super. And I was like, oh, there's a.
It feels a little bit like Joker in that respect, where it's just building up a character.
It's like, here's a character that we can use in our universe. Like it'd be cool. Like, the kid would be cool in the universe, but I felt this movie, like on its own, was a bit like, it was,
It's only 90 minutes long. It's quite short.
Yeah, they
very short.
Showed all these warning signs that he's going to be this little sociopath dude, and things were just heading that way. But then, every time a character was like, "I'm going to do this in the next scene," you're like, "Okay, well, you're going to die in the next scene, aren't you?" And then they died.
And some scenes were quite well shot as well. I felt like they were quite well shot. Like, it was nice to see, which was kind of more tragic that it didn't really end up so good. Julius, what did you think in general?
Yeah, I honestly don't want to hate on this film too much because then I'll get carried away.
Get carried away. We want you to. We're giving you full.
Let's look at the positives. The premise.
Yeah, I agree.
That's it. Premise and nothing further than that. The premise. Well, to be honest, if I'm being totally honest, that premise wasn't entirely new to me when they promoted something like Unbreakable, which came out in 2001, I think 2000. That had a similar quotation to it in that what if Superman was on Earth but he didn't know he was Superman, and that's been stuck with me for a while. And when this movie was released, it took the premise into the horror genre, and I thought, okay, this is promising, this is amazing. But then again, the premise isn't entirely new, considering it's been done so many times in comics. If you read Injustice, Red Sun, Bizarro, films, Chronicle, Split have sort of went that sort of horror thriller route when it comes to superheroes or superpowered beings. And this, to me, adds nothing at all. It has nothing new to say about the superhero genre that is worth mentioning. Like, I went into it and I left so much. I'm sorry to say, I was so disappointed. I wanted to be bummed out in a good way. I wanted it to be a good film because I left it for a while and I wanted it to be such a good film. But in terms of just my overall thoughts so far, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. But I know a lot of people will enjoy it. That's the thing.
One of the things I felt about it is that I didn't really know what the main character was feeling. He never really had a context before all this happened. Like, was he normal? Was he always like this? Did he go crazy? Like, I didn't feel what the child was going through. It was just like, he's an evil dude. And it's like, something's possessing him. It's like, okay, so why do I care? His life is his life being destroyed, or because I didn't care about the kid, really. I wanted him to die. Which he was the villain, but it would be better, I think, if they actually made him kind of like human, sort of like had some struggles that he, but it never really.
I'm 100% with you, bro. I'm 100% with you. The kid, as an actor, he does creepy well. Like for his age, doing that creepy, all those creepy bits, I was like, hey, you sold news. But there's like 100%. I have no sympathy for this kid. I don't feel sorry for him. Like, what was the motivation for us to, like, beyond the bullying? There was no motivation of him becoming evil. One day he just turns evil, and maybe it's that message he gets from the what's the thing? The spspaceship. Sorry, yeah, thanks.
Yeah. The spaceship.
He gets the message. He kills some chickens, and he's like, "Okay, humans next." I was like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
I was like, "How did this play out like this?"
Well, the very switching, when he switched to hating his parents,
right,
it was so sudden and so dramatic that I was almost laughing at that scene where he's like, because his mum is like, and he's all of a sudden he's like, I hate you with all my might, rah, rah. So I don't know, I was kind of laughing, but I could see what they wanted to do, but like, I think a lot of the scares came. I felt like they were trying to service a horror film and reverse engineer, rather than actually create a compelling story underneath. They're like, how can we create a superhero horror film? And then they were like, okay, what's an excuse plot to wrap around it? So it's a horror film,
I think them making a horror film kind of took a lot of complications out of it, because like we were just talking about, one day he's a good kid, next day he's just angry. There's no, they don't even answer those questions. There's no extension. But if you look at a movie like Chronicle, which was sort of one of my favorite movies, superhero movies that aren't to do with heroes. Well, they explain why he did become evil. Like, he was being picked on, and then the powers came out, and it was sort of, having those powers was sort of like puberty, and it played a part, and then it showed consequences. What happened? It ruined his life. But with this, he just goes from 0 to 100, and I think if they added a motivation for why he should hate humans, if they carried on with that bullying thing, if they played more about the girl not liking him, but adding more stuff to it, and then showing probably more of their parents' resentment that, oh, he's not human, sort of something like that he can't fit in, then that would have made more sense for him to switch to stuff it. I'll just kill all these people who think I don't belong here. But for him to just go out and just kill, randomly kill for no, I was just like, okay, you win.
I think it's the idea of style over substance. Like I feel like there were some pretty cool horror shots though. The diner scene with the breaking of, that was very gruesome and graphic. But like I love how they use the kind of the camera and have the red. I don't know how that works. I guess it's just a filter or something they added on. No idea how that works, but there's just little things there. I think one of the things that there was like two messages that I kind of got from this film. I think, and a lot of the featurettes kind of talked about it at the same time, was the parents' decision not to kind of reveal to him. Felt like Elizabeth Banks' character was trying to kind of protect him from this spaceship, or like trying to keep him away from it. But also, I like the idea of how you guys talk about that. We didn't really see this kid's origin, as per se, like the motives behind. Yes, we know this alien race is bad and they want to take over the world, but why? Are they? There was no kind of there's no backstory. Why did he land? Who are these aliens? If they want to conquer worlds, why do they want to conquer worlds? Are they like a Brainiac type of thing where they just take over planets? Are they like, evil Kryptonians, like, General Zod? Is he the son of General Zod? Never know. But we don't find that out. He's just a kid that goes angry, and the movie just goes, So it's kind of like, I don't even know. I haven't seen The Boys in its fullest, but like a lot of people say he's like this little Homelander, but even with someone like Homelander, there's more backstory and explanation. But I mean, it also comes back to the lack of experience, maybe from the director. He hasn't done much in terms of big films. Like, I think he was one of his credited things is like a music video for Guardians of the Galaxy 2.
Yeah.
I was like, this guy did this movie?
Yeah. I think it seems to be one of James Gunn's proteges.
Right.
Who
Yeah.
was the
Someone
director?
who worked
Sorry?
under him. A guy named David Yarovesky. He directed a film called The Hive, but it's not very widely seen.
Well-known.
It's not a popular film.
Mm.
Yeah, and I felt like there were some things that were framed as scary that I didn't find very scary at all.
Right.
For example, when he appears at the whole uncle scene, when he's going to kill the uncle, and then the auntie's there, but there's a jump scare when he's on the front doorstep. And I was like, is a helpless child being on your front doorstep a jump scare?
Yeah.
Why is that scary? And then as soon as he's like, the auntie's like, you should just go by yourself into the dark. She doesn't even care about him like walking home by himself.
Yeah. True that. She was sending him outside to. How far did they live apart from each other too?
Yeah. And then also when he finds his way inside, you know how it's obvious how Brandon jumps inside. And then when she closes the door, and then the reveal of him in the background, and then a big scary noise, boom, like this. But it's not scary. We already know he's in the house. It seems to be like scary, quote unquote, scary noises, but it's ill-timed, and a lot of it we already know the danger. We already, like at some point we already know, he can put his hand into a lawnmower and not get hurt.
Right.
So why does any of this have any suspense at all? Other than he's killing people we don't care about because we've never met them before. For example, Terminator is a great film because we have one character who we know might survive, who the Terminator is coming after, and they are unstoppable, but all you have to do is run. But for this, it's set up so, okay, this scene is obvious going to end in a kill or something. We know it's not going to end right. We know exactly what's going to happen. We almost know exactly how it's going to happen. So why is there suspense? There is none. So that's like, it has the texture of horror, but I don't think it has actual, like the backbone of good scares or horror in it, like those scenes.
To be fair, when I think about horror when it comes to a James Gunn production, the only thing that pops up to me more is the gore. And this film kind of like harkens back to his other films, Slither. The Army of the Dead one, is it? Dawn of the Dead? Army of the Dead, one of those ones. The Balco Experiment. I'm with you, like 100%. I don't get the jump scares, I don't get the horror bits, but when it comes to the gore bits, they do that pretty well. Even with a budget of $7 million. Damn.
Oh, is that what it was?
Wow. Yeah, I left it thinking it would have been more. But the budget was $7 million, so I was like, wow, they did a lot with that.
Okay, yeah, they did a lot with $7 million. It felt more expensive than $7 million. Yeah, I was honestly thinking like this is a lot of money put into a dumb concept. But no, that's on $7 million. I'm more impressed now.
Yeah, me too. I was like, wow, they did pretty well with $7. Yeah,
story aside.
Huh? Yeah. Story aside, right? Yeah.
$7 million. That's like they did well.
I really like I think if there's one saving grace, it would have been I forget her name already. The mom and the dad.
Okay.
It's not entirely there, but I reckon if they worked on it, because it worked for me as the breakdown of a couple, like of a family. Like Elizabeth Banks, she's playing. That's her name. She's playing a mom who desperately wants a son. And she does it really well. Like I only know her through her comedic roles, but here I think this is the best role I've seen her in. But she's trying to play this cool mom.
I think I'd agree with that.
Yeah, she's trying to play this cool mom who's like internally walking this line of like morality, and that we understand later on why, because he's an alien. And then we have the dad, who I personally is a favorite of mine. He's from The Replacements, one of my favorite movies. And he was just honest and upfront. He was like a Samoan dad who wanted to hit his kid. And I love the way he went, but the parents, they just seem to operate in two different spheres. Like one was wanted to do this, and one was wanted to be kind, and just the breakdown of that family dynamic with a kid who's an alien. I reckon if they focus more on their, like, what's the word? Like when they're getting crazy, more on their breakdown, I reckon it would have helped a lot. Still wouldn't have saved the film.
Yeah.
Well, by the end of it, she seemed to be the main character of the film, right? But we didn't know that at the beginning. We just assumed up till then that he was the main character. But now she is, but we haven't got to journey with her long enough for it to be she, by the end, it was like, okay. By the end, I think the mum finding the stuff in the journal was probably my favorite part of the film. Right, yeah. Then the dad shooting his son. It was probably the exact kind of like moral quandary I needed, some kind of existential horror. Would you as a parent shoot your son, or would you let them go? And he actually does, and it's like, okay, this is interesting to me. Not can a little boy jump real high? But yeah, it was. Sometimes I also found like the violence as well. Sometimes it was good, but it was sometimes so showy that it was over the top and comical, like it was funny. I've seen like James Gunn, he's going to do over the top gore and have that comedy alongside it to sort of accentuate its ridiculousness. But since this had like a very serious tone, the like absurd kills were a little bit. They just had brought funny moments when I don't think it was intended in that way.
The whole third half of the film, the whole house was just like, oh my goodness, just like see bodies just flying everywhere, like all around the house. But yeah, no, I agree. I think one of the things that I like, and this kind of came to me watching the featurettes, was just more the parents' decision, and like their whole sort of, I don't know, journey is the right word, but their decision to kind of be protective and try to keep him away, more the mum than the dad, of his true origins, saying, he obviously doesn't need to know that, and how that backfires big time. And my what if is, what if they did end up saying, oh yeah, cool, check out, this is where you came from. Because, we know the story of Superman. Pa Kent, I don't know his name. The dad,
Jonathan.
Pa Kent's dad shows Jonathan Kent. There we go. shows Clark the spaceship. He's like, this is where you came from.
Yeah.
So their decision not to, or like the mum's decision, I'm not really sure what the dad was doing half the time. Just farming. But not showing his origins. I think that would have been interesting if they did, because that would have shown them a different dynamic. It's like, well, he's seen it and now he's gone evil, as opposed to, that we're just going to keep this away from him, and then he slowly goes evil. It's like, we should have showed this to him, because we find out later on the thing that can kill him is a spacecraft. So maybe that could have been a plot point.
I got to say that the visual, like, of the pulsating red light underneath the floorboards it looked really good. It was really scary. That was one of the things that I was like really interested at the beginning. Was like, oh, what is this? This is a mysterious tone. But if it didn't really keep it up throughout, sort of thing.
I don't even remember that bit. Sorry.
Oh, you know how like it's you know how
is it in the beginning or the end?
There's twice in the beginning when the spaceship is trying to contact Brandon. And then he's drawn to that the spaceship, which is buried under. But then, he starts pulling at the padlocks and stuff.
Okay.
But it's like saying stuff like "Yeshikaro, Gashbaro," and all this like foreign language, telling him to take it all, pretty much take the entire Earth.
I think it's pretty amusing that no one suspected this boy would have powers. I mean, he breaks someone's wrist. The whole diner scene, how he turns off, I don't know, like the power and all that stuff. No one's like, oh yeah, no, this kid's turns out to be some psychopath alien.
He even did his initials.
Like, yeah, no,
he did BB all over the windows.
No one picked up on
this. They did find him in the end.
He did his initials. I was like, oh, okay, let's guess who has BB as their first and last names.
I guess that was sort of realistic, though. I think because, like in the sort of Fargo-ish way, where police people aren't always like completely onto it. They're just like, what is this? I have no idea.
You pointed out a good thing, Beanie, and off screen, how the police officer goes to the house to ask questions, and mom's like, Elizabeth's character's like, no, I'm not going to let you in. He's like, cool, I'll come back.
Yeah,
what
she's
kind of
like,
police is
actually,
this?
I'd like for you to go away right now, please. And then the policeman is okay, I agree. And then he just like walks off.
What kind of police department is
remember
this?
that,
Like
but that's
three
funny.
people working.
Yeah.
It's like 3 people working at that police department.
But then again, I think he might have called, because he did call call for backup, didn't he, to come in and see
Like,
that.
no one turned up for backup. There was zero
It's a
backup.
very small town mentality. Tom, I haven't heard from you in a while.
Doesn't
What
he
did
drive there? And he's like radioing for backup. He's like, I'm already on my way there. And then 2 cars pull up at the same time. Like, oh, true.
Yeah, yes, these are little inconsistencies.
But yeah.
I also thought that the arguments between the adults were quite childish. When the mother of the girl who bullied him and he snapped the wrist was like accusing him of stuff, like saying he's this and that, and then his mother said, "If insulting 12-year-old children makes you sleep at night, maybe you're the one who needs help." It was these weak ass insults like this. Who was? I was just like, wow. This...
The film. The only quote I wrote down is, "Bro, why you always talk about maggots? Must be one."
Yeah,
Is that actually a line from the film?
I was like, what?
Oh my.
Oh, really?
Yeah, there's a lot. I just know there's a lot of stuff in this that was really comic, like really funny.
I don't know if it was meant
Funny
to be.
dialogue,
It was
and
like-
unintentionally
Which
funny.
yeah.
Yeah. Oh yeah, when Brandon goes to scare the uncle, he like appears around the corner, and for some reason these type of films, even if the main character can't see them, but you can, it's scary apparently. If they appear in the corner and the main character can't say, "Oh, they're there. We already knew, but okay." And then he appears next to the uncle, and he says something like, he's like, "I'm gonna tell your parents," and then he's walking away. Brandon says, "You shouldn't tell my parents." And then it's supposed to be like one of the most like intimidating lines from a little boy. And then that, in real life, the uncle would just turn around and be like, "What? What are you talking about? Shut up."
The whole uncle auntie house thing did not make sense to me, because like he's in the house and then like the wife doesn't tell her husband, our nephew's in the house, or he's around the house. She just goes to bed and he finds him in his closet.
Yeah.
It's like, doesn't even ask questions like, "Oh yeah, our nephew's in the closet." It's like, no question at all. I'm just going to take him home.
It was such a roundabout way for Brandon to kill them too, because he could have just killed him in the closet, but he decides to follow him around and act like a little kid, and then while he's driving along, just bopping and I don't know. It's so.
Yeah.
There was so many unnecessary steps, but visually it was good.
He was learning how to be a supervillain,
Oh.
Oh
They're
yeah,
like, do I kill him
Got
straight
it.
away, or do I awkwardly waste time in this short bit of time we have to explain my character's background?
3 steps of turning into a supervillain. 1, pick up a truck and fly.
Yeah.
drop it on man. I did like it's like seemed like in the last 5 minutes they started to explore things that were interesting to me,
Yeah.
like whether the mum having the shard behind her back. I was like, this is a good scene. If the rest of the film had set us up for this, it was.
Yeah.
I was like,
I hadn't
why
already
didn't you
given
go
up on that.
faster? She was like, I'm just going to do the most slow motion
Yeah.
backstab scene of my life. Just like slowly, and he's like, "Oh, why don't you go faster?"
Yeah,
lady?
when Brandon parried that blow, that was a legitimately thrilling moment for me. I was like, oh no, it was like dropping, but then I realized I didn't
And
care.
then- But yeah, no, the question I had in mind was, because this is a James Gunn idea, so he was a producer. I don't think he wrote this. I don't believe he did.
No, he
Or
didn't.
directed.
No.
Obviously, he was he had producer credits, but I don't think he wrote this, or might have just pitched the idea and be like, "Hey, this is a good movie. Superman, evil." Guy's like, "Yeah, let's direct this movie."
It was Brian and Mark Gunn who wrote this.
Those brothers?
Relatives, I think.
Yeah,
siblings,
yeah,
or-
something like that. I mean, Julius might know.
Nope. I have no idea.
All I know is his parents are in Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Volume 2. They're the old couple. That's all I know. And Sean Gunn was not in this movie, so definitely not a James Gunn movie. But if you stay long enough, you'll see Michael Rooker.
Oh, yeah.
It's always a James Gunn thing. But my question is, if James Gunn, I don't know what he was doing at that time of the year, probably Guardians of the Galaxy or something else, but do you reckon if he did this movie and he wrote this and he directed this, do you reckon it would have been like a completely different film, or do you reckon it would have been similar aspects?
Totally different. I feel like James Gunn has a far better grasp of plot, themes, and characters. I would trust him to at least do a little... I mean, yeah, it's worth giving people a try, but I think James Gunn has all that.
Easy.
The music track will sound better.
He is...
What's that, sorry, George?
The soundtrack will be better.
Was there soundtrack?
It'll be all 80s songs, eh? Like, what's his name? Brandon just killing people, and then ABBA starts playing out of nowhere. There's not too much to talk about on this 90-minute film, apart from what we just covered. I think we've covered quite a bit of it.
We've covered the whole thing, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I've got anything else to bring. Have I?
I'll check my short notes.
Short notes.
Yeah, I just said acting was kind of bad, but I only said that because the characters didn't make sense. I think it was because child acting is so hard to get right. And and then some scenes where he just seemed to disappear out of nowhere, like Batman. That's right, because you look at him and then you look away and then you look back and he's gone. Apparently, but I was like, that doesn't make sense even if he has powers, unless he can disappear literally.
That's never made sense to me. That
established that,
especially when Batman does it to Superman. I'm like, no, that's impossible. That he can't do that.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of the costume design? There wasn't a costume design. What do you think of the mask?
The kid's mask?
Did he?
I actually thought it was kind of creepy.
He tried his best.
I think he made it. Yeah, he made. I don't know what he tried his best.
I thought it was kind of creepy. Like, I thought it was a mouth at first. I thought he had transformed into like some kind of head crab thing, and I was quite scared. But then I didn't realize that was just what his mask was. So
it was like I don't know, like some kind of cloth with like string attached in the front.
Maybe it was the skin of his victim.
Yeah.
Like, there was one scene where the diner lady showed up. When Brandon's mum goes to the ship, she kind of turns around and you just see, you're like, oh, so he's keeping victims now.
Yeah, that's right.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the lady, her body was there.
Yeah.
That was
that was.
Where was it again? Was it in the fridge?
In the
it was in
spaceship.
Downstairs, underneath the barn.
That's right.
You just see the camera turn. And you're like,
yeah, that was actually creepy.
A jump scare. That was a jump scare, in my opinion. No, it was. Yeah, it was. But
I just felt it was a little bit unearned even at that point because, I don't know. A lot of it was unearned. I felt.
Yeah,
it's like, okay, yeah, it's a bit for shock value. But like, I guess it was it's impressive.
The ending for if you're considering watching the movie, you should probably not listen to this, or go watch it for yourself. But wait,
I didn't even care to give a spoiler warning because I was just like, I don't care.
You're not going to watch
basically
it.
Better watch it now so you can learn. No, the basically end is he's just after doing all that he's done. Pretty much everyone dies in this movie except for Brandon, and he takes down a airplane and is the sole survivor. So he covers up.
So that airplane crash near his house covers up the fact covers up the fact that he murdered everybody, and they use that as an excuse to be like, oh no, he's the sole survivor of a crash, when in fact he was the guy who did it. The basket.
Yeah.
And it has the little BB symbol on the plane.
I remember seeing that. I was like, oh.
It was convenient as well. I feel that because
that plane
plane just happened to be there. But if the plane didn't come, then how would he be able to
cover everything up?
Cover his tracks. Yeah,
he would have probably went and tried to go to someone else's farm.
Yeah, That just seems to be, one of those plot things where it's like, oh, there's a plane here, and it happens to serve the plot perfectly. Deus Ex, maybe.
Yeah, that was the film. 90 minutes. What did you guys think? What's your ratings or scores? Final thoughts?
Yeah, I'm going hard on this.
Okay.
Honestly, for me, the only thing worth mentioning about this damn film was the premise. Unfortunately, they had an idea. They didn't flesh out the idea anyway that was impressive or worth mentioning. Superman becomes evil. It shouldn't just be a switch. Were his appearance abusive? Friends picking on him? What led to him being a sociopath? What led to him having this superiority complex? None of it answered. A lot of it coincidental. I hate this film. I gave it a 1. Sorry.
You give it a 1 out of 10.
After first viewing, I'll be honest. After first viewing, I was trying to find things that I liked about it, and so at the time I gave it a 3 out of 10. But right now, I'm sorry, guys. I'm actually really am sorry. I'm hating on this film like this, but
no, I think we shouldn't have any sort of censorship around this. There have to be some ones, in life. So not all films, can be.
It's lucky it's a 1. The 1 is the premise.
So you have a 0.5 or a 0.
I'll give it a 1 out of 10, just so they say, oh, he has a heart.
Speaking of child sociopaths, do you reckon if Home Alone was... he kind of reminds me of Kevin McAllister in instances where he's like, I'm not bad, I'm a good person, and I just harm people.
Home Alone was funny. Funny and absurd might have added some things. I'm going to give my thoughts on this film. This film, for me, had a lot of... it could have been handled very well. Like when you said it could have been directed by James Gunn. I reckon if it had a more well fleshed out concept, better structure, more emphasis on character drama, then just trying to make it a scary horror on a low budget, then I think it would have been really good. The thing that stops me from giving it a 1, I guess, is because visually, it was well shot, I think, in some parts. I think that it was slick enough and well paced enough to keep me interested. I wasn't fully bored. I was just kind of in a little bit of disbelief at some things, but I wasn't cringing the whole time, or I wasn't completely bored the whole time. I was just like, okay, I'm not sure this film is fully doing it for me, but I'm still somewhat entertained. Particularly just some of the potential it had and its premise. I give this Space Boy film a 3 out of 10.
Wow.
Nice.
That is awesome. My man.
I was actually...
Man.
Oh, no, I probably shouldn't start with the number A.
You can if you want. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I was the same. I'll give it a 3 out of 10 as well. I liked the premise. I thought some of the acting was good. Like the parents, I thought they did a good job. Maybe not the kid. But yeah, I found the diner scene was it was well done. The glass in the eyeball,
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. There are some parts that were at least a little bit memorable from the movie. But too much of it was not memorable, and that is why I gave it the 3.
Wow, that's awesome, man.
Yeah, it was visually stunning in some parts.
Agreed.
Visually, or just generally boring in other parts.
Generally.
Wow.
And Ravi gives it a 10 out of 10 at this point. No, just kidding. Go, Ravi.
Wow. I lose all my credibility. No, this movie was selling 3 things, I feel. Superhero, like a fresh take on well, it's not really a fresh take. I think Julius has also mentioned that they've already done this in the comics, Red Sun, which is, they should make that a movie. That'd be great. But, like a superhero, a fresh take, quotation marks, on a well-known superhero genre origin.
Mm.
Hero horror, so horror take on the superhero genre, as well as selling a James Gunn movie, because this is a co-produced by James Gunn. I feel like everyone's like, oh my gosh, Guardians of the Galaxy, wow, and then they watch this and like, this is not Guardians of the Galaxy, where's the singing? And the dancing. No, but it's not a musical. But no, I thought this movie was I agree. I'm also going with 3 out of 10. I thought the premise was cool. Yeah. I didn't hate it. I thought it could have been done better. I feel like there were missed opportunities, like fleshing out a little bit more of the origin of the character, especially if he's coming from an alien race. Why are they trying to take over the planet? It's like every kind of cliche alien movie ever. They're just going to take over the planet. It's like, I don't care why. Loved the parents. I feel like it would have been cool to see their like an alternative take on them, whether what would have happened if they actually kind of showed him that he was from a different planet. Maybe the plot would have changed. Maybe he wouldn't have gone evil. Just different things that they could have done, and I would have loved James Gunn's entire take on this. Like, if it was his idea, he should have done this. It would have been 100 times better. But
would have been a 300 out of 10.
Yeah. 300 out of 10.
Times better.
But good job from David. Can't pronounce your last name. 3 out of 10 for me.
Can I just say something? Because I think you guys made good points, and so I'm
I just want to give it a 3.
No, I'm just gonna say I want to add in that I agree with everything you guys said about how good this film is. I made it sound like everything was wrong, but the shooting was good. There was some great scenes, some good composition scenes. I think I'm just adding my agreement to what you guys have said, but still it's a 1.
I thought
you were going to change. I thought you were going to change because we're like, okay,
sorry,
we still can keep that
1.5.
We can still keep that other film as our complete agreement one. This is good. I didn't expect all of us to agree so consistently on this film.
It popped in my head that the number 3 popped in my head before Julia said it. I was like, oh. And then Penny said, and Tom said, I was like, wow.
Sorry,
I thought you were surprised at how low we were giving the scores, but no, you share the same view.
Yeah, sorry, man, I just didn't. Yeah.
Julius, is this better or worse than Birds of Prey for you? That's a good question.
At least Birds of Prey was sort of entertaining.
There we have it, folks. We heard it first.
And we know how much Julius doesn't like Birds of Prey. Excellent. Well, that was Brightburn. Some people think it's a great film, but yes, we have finished that film now. Thank you, Ravi, for bringing that film. I firmly agree that both excellent films and films we don't think are as good. They're both worth talking about. So it's good to you get good entertainment out of that. The next person to pick is Tom. Tom, what is the movie you've got for us?
Here's a riddle for you. What do The Social Network, Third Rock from the Sun, and Borat have in common?
English language.
I know this answer.
Is his name
Sacha Baron?
The Trial of the Chicago 7. That is movie.
I would have never guessed that, Tom.
Directed and screenplay written by Aaron Sorkin. Benny hasn't heard of him before, but he did that movie that you liked, Social Network, Steve Jobs movie.
Wow.
But more importantly, Sacha Baron Cohen's in it. I was going to pick Borat, but I don't know about you guys reviewing Borat.
Which one?
Borat 2. Yeah, he's coming out soon.
I would have enjoyed Borat as well.
I'm going to pick that as my next movie if you guys don't pick it before the next cycle. But, no, we're doing the Trial of the Chicago 7. It's
yes.
Come on, somebody.
New one coming out, and it does have Joseph Gordon-Levitt. If that's what you're thinking, Robin, or also Third Rock from the Sun.
Also known as Guy, who we haven't seen in a long time. What?
Yeah. He got stuck in a dream or something, and
he's probably hitting some records
wrong or something.
Get it?
Yeah.
Oh, shut up.
Yeah, it should be a good one. You guys will be pleased to know that everyone's given it pretty good reviews so far, because it's fairly
every single person.
Every person I know has given it an 8 out of 10 IMDb score, or maybe like a 93% fresh score. And some people even say they'll say, "Oh, I'll give it about a 76% Metacritic score." You know?
Wow!
You're just pulling those numbers out of
pulling them
your
out
head.
of nowhere. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. Should be good. And if it's good, if it is as good as everyone says it is, then I might watch all those movies Benny's been telling me to watch for ages.
And TV shows.
And TV shows.
And superhero movies and
Newsroom,
TV
mate.
shows.
Newsroom. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I'll,
So Aaron Sulkin directed two of my favorite films, as Thomas said, The Social Network and Steve Jobs, and I like a lot of his other stuff as well.
He's written some of the
and
greatest TV shows ever.
Yeah, I was going to say Julius loves The West Wing, and The Newsroom as well.
Wow.
Two of the greatest
He's
ever.
a master of dialogue.
Yep.
So we'll see how this movie is. Yeah.
Very excited. As soon as I saw that Sacha Baron Cohen was in this movie, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah.
He's in this movie? Because you have Joseph Gordon-Levitt and then all these other people in it. As soon as I saw him, I was like, this is going to be interesting. And it's based on a true story, right?
Yeah.
Am I
Very nice.
mistaken?
Yep.
But we'll get into that next week.
Yeah.
But for now, we shall say, as we always say, film
Enough
on,
son of
my
me.
podcast nerds.
Film on.
Onward we go to the...
See you later.
Bye.
Burn the brightest. Huh?
Beanies podcast.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good week. And
Brush your teeth.
make sure you...
I'm going to fade out, and I'm going to fade in Tom just talking about his measuring tape.
What's that, Tom?
Measure
With
Measure
increasing
twice.
reverb.
Measure twice, cut once, everybody.
Oh, wow. Wow, cool. Everybody.
That's just... You can have that one for free. Measure twice and cut once.